I'd always been an avid explorer. Being able to uncover history, as inconsequential as it may be, was the best feeling in the world. I had spent plenty of time exploring abandoned parks and buildings around my city. My house was on the outskirts of town, bordering a massive forest. I went for hikes every once in a while to clear my head. Usually, I would choose a different path each time. That was until I found a small wooden cabin that had clearly been abandoned. The door was missing. The wood was rotting. It was overgrown. The first time I stumbled upon it, I was unprepared. Usually, I carried a knife and some pepper spray with me when I explored these places, just for my own protection. You never know who might be hiding in there. I didn't have any of it with me that day, though, since I hadn't planned on anything more than a short walk. Besides, I hate to admit it, but something about that cabin shook me. As soon as I laid eyes on it, my heart beat faster than it ever had before. My whole body was jittery, so I left. I went back home and tried to forget about it, but I didn't forget about it. The next few days, I couldn't focus on my work. I couldn't do anything. My mind was consumed with the thoughts of what could possibly be in there. Soon, the thoughts took over my sleep. At first, I dreamt about the cabin, but would wake up in a cold sweat before I could step inside. Then the thoughts progressed to the point where I was unable to sleep at all. Exactly a week after first discovering the cabin, I decided it was the day. I was going to finally see for myself what was hiding in there. With the knife and pepper spray safely tucked away in my belt, I set off on my journey, retracing my steps from 7 days before. My pulse rose higher and higher as I got close to the cabin. When I finally saw it again, it appeared exactly as it had on my previous visit. I walked in through the empty doorway. The floorboards made loud creaks with every step. The first room was completely empty. An orange glow shone through a door on my right that was hanging on by one hinge. My palms covered in sweat. I pushed the door aside. The source of the glow was a set of 6 identical candles sitting upright on the floor. It's a miracle this place hasn't burnt down, I thought to myself. One by one, I picked up the candles and blew them out. As I was about to put out the last one, something red on the wall caught my eye. I raised the candle near the wall, using the light to inspect further. Written on the wall, over and over again, was a name, Peter Sherrill. My name. The candle slipped through my fingers and fell onto the floor, but I didn't need it anymore. Even without the light, I could now clearly see my own name written in blood on every inch of this room's walls. I instinctively stomped out the fire on the floor, still processing what I had just seen. My whole body shook, as though there was an earthquake. My knees gave out, and I fell harder than I'd ever fallen before. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, repeating forever in my head. Tears fell from my eyes as I struggled to comprehend the meaning of this cabin. When I finally regained the strength to stand, I tried to walk out of the cabin, to leave it behind, to pretend this never happened. But something in my own head told me that no, I had to stay. There was more to this place than just the writing. There was something else that I needed to see. Maybe it was my own instinct. Maybe it was some mysterious force that science can't explain. Whatever it was convincing enough that I turned around and went further into the house. At the back of the cabin, there was a staircase heading down. I didn't know where it led, but again, something in my own head told me to continue. So I did. Further and further down. The staircase was now made entirely of stone and lit by torches on the walls. When I arrived at the bottom, I was met with laughter. A man stood ahead of me with his back turned. He had long hair that clearly hadn't been cared for in years. He was thin and decrepit. I stood frozen in place, even as every natural instinct in my mind was telling me to run. The man turned around. What I saw, standing directly in front of me, was my own face, my own body, me. But his eyes, his nose, everything, he was absolutely, unmistakably me. I stood in place, jaw dropped, for what seemed to be an eternity. How is this possible? The sound of my heartbeat echoed through my entire body, drowning out everything else. The ground felt uneven. The basement began to spin around me. My vision started to fade. It was only when I noticed the knife in his hand that my mind snapped out of its broken state and my body allowed me to move. I had to act fast. So what were my options? I could have stayed put, but this person or this thing that was imitating me showed no signs of being peaceful. I could have run, but what if he caught up to me? With my mind clouded by panic, I could only think of one other viable choice.
I quickly unclipped the pepper spray from my belt and squirted it directly into his eyes.
Into my eyes? I had half expected it to hurt myself as well, but it didn't. The older version of me covered his face and stumbled backwards. I had an opportunity and I pounced, drawing my knife and piercing his chest. He almost immediately fell to the ground, limp. After taking his knife, as well as my own, I ran back up the stairs, horrified by what I had just done. After contemplating my options, I decided I couldn't risk leaving the cabin. I had just committed a murder, even if there was no reasonable explanation for the existence of the person I had killed. I had to stay in hiding. A knot tightened in my stomach as I realized I would have to take care of the body just to be safe. The cabin was secluded, but it was still too conspicuous if someone did find it. When night fell, I dragged the body all the way out of the cabin and into the woods, trying not to throw up. Deeper and deeper into the woods I went, ensuring nobody would ever find it. I walked with the corpse of my older self for a couple of hours. As it turned out, there was one more surprise in store for me that night. I stopped in my tracks when I realized I was walking toward a seemingly endless series of deep holes in the ground. A shovel lay in front of my feet. I let go of the body as I went to investigate. I peered over the edge of one of the holes, my breath hastening as my new greatest fear showed up in front of my eyes. Another version of myself was lying dead in the hole. It was a gravesite. Running from one grave to another, it was repeatedly confirmed that this was a gravesite entirely populated by dead versions of myself. My body, my thoughts, my feelings all went numb. I stopped thinking. I did the only thing I could do. I picked up the shovel and dug another grave. Immediately after tossing the body in, I began my multiple-hour walk back to the cabin, back to my new home. That brings me to the present. I'm sitting in the middle of the cabin, typing this out on my phone that's almost dead, as a cry for help. In the days following my discovery of the cabin's secret, my mental state went from numbness to horrified understanding. I fear I may be stuck here until a younger me comes to take my place. Even worse, I fear that new versions of me are continuously cursed to fulfill this disgusting prophecy for all of eternity. Just yesterday, I returned to the room that had my name covering its walls, only to find one more piece of writing hidden amongst the names. The cabin must always have a resident.